What is good, JRL Mafia, man? It's your boy Junior back at it again with another reaction video, man. We got 10 animals that can live after death. Let's react.
In today's video, meet a creature that can clone itself indefinitely, and another that is, by all definitions, actually immortal. Cockroaches. If your head
That's
gets
so
chopped
true.
off, you die.
That is
That's
so
just how
true.
it is, unless you are a cockroach, that is.
That is so
Cockroaches can
true.
go on living for weeks, running around with their head chopped off. How is that, though? Well, for one, cockroaches do not bleed, something that happens to us with the smallest of cuts. They don't have an open circulatory system, which means they have little to no blood pressure. So if their heads are lopped off, the wound just closes naturally due to clotting. Secondly, and probably the most obvious reason, human heads hold quite an important part of our body, our brains. And without it, humans would cease to function. Eating, drinking, and breathing are all impossible without the head. Cockroaches, on the other hand, don't need their heads to breathe, as they do this process through little holes located on their bodies. These, in turn, are called spiracles. Cockroaches, although hardy, are not immortal, as headless cockroaches will eventually die of starvation, but it would actually take weeks for one to do so.
That's so true, bro. Like, bro, I'm telling you, bro, like, you can, like, kill one, and that shit won't die. Like, bro, like, you can literally step on his head, bro, like, stomp this shit, like, yeah, stomp that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, hard as fuck, that shit still not gonna die, bro. Like, dead ass.
Weeks for one to do so. Chickens. The idiom, running around like a headless chicken, exists because of one thing. Because sometimes headless chickens do literally have the ability to run around even after their heads are cut off. They can't see where they're running to, and hence they bump into things. And I'm sure you'd agree that it's both funny and very, very morbid at the same time. This is not the case all the time, though. This happens when a butcher makes a mistake during the butchering process. You see, a chicken's central nervous system is very different from us humans. Some basic bodily functions are controlled not by the brain itself, but by certain parts of the brain stem.
Stop paying full price on Best Buy. If you're a PC gamer, here's a way that you can save a ton of money on gaming gear.
I don't care.
So what does all that mean? Well, if a butcher chops a chicken's head too high, most of the time it's just the forebrain of the chicken that comes off with its head, leaving the brainstem and the cerebellum quite intact. In fact, if the butcher also misses the jugular, not only will the chicken continue to move, it sometimes can still breathe. Mike the chicken, as seen here standing beside his own head, lived for an astounding 18 months in this condition. Turtles. Almost all life that's evolved on our planet has a distinct weakness, that being we all need oxygen to survive. That's the main reason why we can't colonize other planets in our solar system without any major planetary terraforming efforts. But notice I said almost all life, and not all life in general. That's because there's creatures on this planet that, although still do need oxygen to survive, have evolved in such a way that their bodies are able to maximize the use of that life-giving gas. Sea turtles are air breathers, but can stay submerged for a very long time. How long? Try 5,000 hours in the case of the loggerhead musk turtle. Yeah, you heard that right. That was a 5 followed by 3 zeros, and they survived that long by what oxygen they can take up from the water via their skin, throat, and butt end, as well as their body's amazing potential for producing energy without oxygen. Their hearts have their own fuel stash, and they just won't give up until every last drop of that's been used up. Octopus. The octopus is unique to this list because of one very disturbing ability.
That is so true.
If you chop them up into tiny bite-sized pieces, they can still fight back. Just not in the usual sense, of course. These
That's
creatures
so
still
nasty,
retain the
bro.
ability to move even when chopped into pieces. The reason why they're able to do this is quite fascinating. Their central nervous system is pretty unique. Most of an octopus's nerve cells, about 2/3 of them in fact, can be found not in the brain but in its tentacles. And these arms can continue reacting to stimuli even after they're no longer connected to the main brain. In fact, they remain responsive even after the octopus has been long dead.
That shit's
Why is
still
this relevant,
moving.
though? Well, as some of you already know, chopped up live octopus is somewhat of a delicacy in some Asian countries. And there, the dish is sometimes called the dish that fights back. There have been quite a few documented cases of diners choking on a still wriggling octopus leg that simply wouldn't go down. And of course, some of these unlucky people have died of asphyxiation.
And they still eat it. And they'll still eat it.
The tree weta. Wetas are grasshopper-like insects that can only be found exclusively in New Zealand.
What is
These
that?
on the channel before, but mostly the giant weta, a carrot-loving giant insect, is as big as
What is that thing? Bro, what
a
is
gerbil
that?
as heavy as a mouse. However, there is another fascinating member of the weta family, and its insane ability has led to some people calling them zombie bugs. Tree wetas can technically come back from the dead, that is if they die from freezing. They have a special protein in their blood that prevents it from freezing under extremely low temperatures. That's all well and good, but it means nothing if the heart and brain of the animal gets frostbit. This is where the weta's other ability comes into play. Upon being frozen, their brains and their hearts die, but after being thawed, they begin to function again as if nothing happened. This amazing ability is currently being studied, and scientists are hopeful they can replicate the same phenomenon in humans, to be used for a myriad of applications. Probably the biggest use, though, deep space travel. Planaria. Planaria, or flatworms, are one of the most ordinary looking animals. Yet beneath that slimy exterior lies something that we can only call a superpower. One that we thought could only be possible within the pages of a comic book. A healing factor so powerful that it rivals that of Wolverine and Deadpool. Researchers from the University of Nottingham have demonstrated how a species of flatworm overcomes the aging process to be potentially immortal. Planarian worms have amazed scientists with their apparently limitless ability to regenerate. Researchers have also been studying their ability to replace aged or damaged tissues and cells in a bid to understand the mechanisms underlying their longevity. To better understand the flatworm's immortality, we need to understand first how cells regenerate in humans and other life
What the
forms.
fuck?
Usually, when stem cells divide to heal wounds or during reproduction or for growth, they start to show signs of aging. This means that the stem cells are no longer able to divide and so become less able to replace exhausted specialized cells in the tissues of our bodies. Our aging skin is perhaps the most visible example of this effect. Planarian worms and their stem cells are somehow able to avoid the aging process and keep their cells dividing for an indefinite period of time. Salamanders. If you're gonna make a list of animals that stubbornly cling to life even after apparent death, it's gonna be pretty hard to exclude the salamander. This animal's always been synonymous to long life and immortality, and although they don't really come back from the dead, they do have an amazing ability nonetheless. Salamanders have the uncanny ability to regenerate any part of its body that's been chopped off. Interestingly enough, these regrown parts actually function the same as, or in some cases, even better than the original parts. This is mainly because of a special protein found in salamanders which facilitates the replication of cells. And although the same protein can be found in humans, they're far smaller in quantities, which is basically enough to help our bodies heal our wounds. Just not an arm or a leg. So, does this mean we could regenerate severed limbs? Well, like I said, not really, but we're not quite there yet. Scientists are continuing to study salamanders and how their unique ability can benefit humans in the future. Now it's time for the day's best pick. Do snakes really defy death? Snakes. Don't get me wrong, snakes definitely die when you chop their head off. But why they're on this list though? Well, for one simple reason. The decapitated head of a venomous snake can still kill you long after it's been chopped off. Snakes retain the ability to move even when it's chopped up, with the body continuing its mobility while headless and the head retaining the ability to bite despite being detached to its body. Its instinct to defend itself also remains, sans the body. Also, some venomous snakes have heat-sensitive pits at either side of its face, which it uses to detect threats, and let's face it, if you're close enough for your body heat to be detected, you're close enough to be considered a threat. These heat-sensitive pits are capable of detecting a threatening presence for hours after death, which means the snake may continue to defend itself, albeit zombie style.
It was about to defend it without a head?
Frogs.
The
When
fuck?
something is pronounced brain dead, it basically means the body continues to live, but the brain has ceased functioning. Obvious oversimplification aside, frogs take this concept to a wholly different level. That's because it was discovered that frogs continue to function relatively normally despite their brains having been removed. Through a series of what could only be considered insane experiments by 19th century neurologist David Ferrier, a headed but brainless frog actually behaves very similarly to a frog with its gray matter perfectly intact. You turn it upside down, it'll right itself. You pinch its feet, it will hop away. You put it in water, it will swim to the side and climb out. And perhaps most disturbing of all, it'll even croak contentedly if you stroke its back. Obviously, we don't have footage of this very disturbing experiment, but I have a feeling that you wouldn't want to see it either.
I wouldn't.
Before we
Please.
move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. The Teratopsis jellyfish. For thousands of years, we humans have been fascinated with the concept of immortality. From the first emperor of China, who firmly believed that ingesting mercury will make him live forever, spoiler, it didn't work, or to the numerous expeditions to find the fountain of youth, the ability to live forever is considered by many people for their holy grail. Granted, the search may finally be over, as one jellyfish was discovered that just might have the secret we've all longed for. Discovered by Christian Sommer, the Teratopsis jellyfish is an animal that has a very curious life cycle, making it virtually immortal. At any point in its life, it can reverse its aging and revert back into a polyp, the earliest stage of its life cycle. Scientists still don't know how the creature does this, why it does this, and whether it does it on purpose. But one thing is clear. The old adage that states one is born then dies does not apply to all creatures on Earth. See you all next time.
Damn.
When you start with better ingredients.
But if y'all enjoyed that video, make sure y'all leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know other stuff y'all also want me to react to other below in the comment, below in the description, in the comment, in the comments, bro, in the comics. What did I say in comics? In the comic section. I keep fucking that shit up, like comic and comments, like keep mixing it up, but you know what to do, man. Other than that, I'm out.